Hey guys, welcome to Pajama Let's Play. I'm Michelle, host of Pajama Let's Play, where we discuss all things Kingdom Hearts. Today, we'll be exploring the Age of Fairytales, and if it could actually be connected to Kairi being asleep for most of Kingdom Hearts 1. But before we get into that, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. You can check out my Patreon or leave a tip via the various apps linked in the description box down below. As always, there will be spoilers, so heads up there. Today's theory was actually submitted by a subscriber named Starin. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, I hope so, but they suggested that the Age of Fairytales is actually a dream of Kairi's, and that someone entered her dream and brought that storyline into reality. I'm very intrigued by that line of thinking, so let's break it down. We already know there are characters who can enter the dreams of others. We see Ephemer enter Player's dream, and on a similar note, Skuld says he did the same with her. In Dream Drop Distance, we see Organization 13 attempt to use Sora's dreams to lure him into darkness to become a vessel for Xehanort. We saw in Union Cross that the Chirithes were able to alter the memories of their wielders through implanting and manipulating the dreams. And the basis for this theory. We saw a portal emerge from Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3 that is identical to the portals that connect dream worlds and allow the characters to pass through them. This implies, though isn't exactly stated, that the version of Scala we see in 3 is a dream world of Scala based on Xehanort's perspective. It was brought to reality, so to speak, through the portal, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy were able to enter it to deal with Xehanort. All of this together tells me that dreams are just as important as they are complicated, and the realm of sleep is no different. We know the realms of sleep and death touch, making it easier for characters like Sora, Joshua, Xehanort, and others to pass between those realms. We also saw a large emphasis on dreams coming to fruition, from the fairy godmother helping Cinderella get to the ball, Sora telling the nameless star that she needs to believe with all her heart that her dream of returning home will come to pass, and Rapunzel doing whatever it takes to fulfill her dream of seeing the lanterns. If dreams can come into reality in that way, why not dream worlds? In fact, we even see this happen in Dream Drop Distance, through Joshua bringing those dream worlds into reality. Granted, he has a special ability which allows him to do that, but it certainly sets a precedent. It's safe to say the theory is certainly possible, given these fragments of information we've been given. So now let's get into how it would work. The youngest we see Kairi seems to be in birth by sleep when Aqua saves her from the Heartless. Her grandmother tells her the story of the Age of Fairytales, which, to be fair, we still don't know if the story refers to the time with the Master of Masters and the Foretellers, or if it begins with Ephemer's story. Either way, the tale seems pretty basic. There's a war, the hearts of children keep the light alive, and the worlds were rebuilt. If you want to be technical, that is the basis of every fairy tale. Maybe not a physical battle, maybe not literal children, but each of us has fought our own war of sorts, and the inner child within each of us keeps hope alive, allowing us to rebuild our reality with new perspective. I think it makes complete sense that Kairi would have an interpretation of the story that she's able to visualize and visit within her dreams. Somewhere around this time, she somehow ends up as a test subject under Terranort. We don't know what exactly was done to her or for what purpose, but we know Terranort wanted to explore memory, while Ansem the Wise wanted to explore the heart. This fairy tale told to her repeatedly would essentially form a core memory, just like the movie Inside Out, especially because at that age, children value wonder and excitement far more than specific sports, art forms, and other interests we take on as we get older. That means it would have been a fundamental part of her heart as a cherished memory, which then implies it would be an easy target for research. Eventually, the experiments come to a close, and Kairi is sent off, landing in the Destiny Islands. Terranort splits himself into Xemnas and Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and we get the events of Kingdom Hearts 1, where Kairi is asleep for the vast majority of the game. Here's where the theory gets tricky. Who would enter her dreams at this point to bring her vision of the Age of Fairytales into reality? I think it's safe to say no version of Xehanort would have been interested in the Age of Fairytales in a way that would encourage him to bring the dream version to reality. The only other characters we've seen enter dreams like that without a portal are those like Ephemer, who aren't really focused on much more than the world around them. So that leaves the Master of Masters, as Theron suggested. We don't know for sure that he has this capability, but we can assume this would be possible through the power of waking, which all Keyblade Masters have access to. I do believe it is possible that the Master of Masters entered Kairi's dream and used the power of waking to awaken the dream into a world in reality. In order for this theory to work, though, Lucio would have needed to stay near Kairi, which is certainly possible since he goes off on his own a lot to do things like find new members and whatever he's doing with the black box. I say this because the only way for the Master of Masters to even know about Kairi's dreams would be for it to have been written in the Book of Prophecies, which requires no name, which Lucio must stay close to. So here's how I could see this working, in chronological order, based on the linear perception of time. The Master of Masters opens the Book of Prophecies and peruses it for the first time. He discovers the future that lies ahead, i.e. the Keyblade War, and its never-ending cycle. This would be happening in a world that is not the Age of Fairytales, but maybe the Destiny Islands or something, wherever the Master of Masters is truly from. He sees the events of Kairi's life, especially the prolonged sleep in Kingdom Hearts 1, and sends his heart forward in time to investigate her dreams for some unknown reason. He discovers Daybreak Town within her dream and decides to bring that realm forward into reality. He uses the power of waking and awakens that world from its dream status and recruits Keyblade wielders throughout the world, maybe even throughout time, to train in this new world he has brought forward. This becomes his first backup plan, in case he can't prevent the Keyblade War he references from his childhood. We know he's not the most forthright with details, so he may have misrepresented how long his childhood was. The Book of Prophecies did not change because these events are officially fated for whatever reason, so he creates the Datascape and sends Lucio with no name to make sure the Book of Prophecies gets written. He tells Lucio whatever needs to be told to make sure he sticks to the primary events recorded, and trusts him to fulfill his role. Lucio makes his way to Radiant Garden where he meets little Kairi. I'm not sure what's happening with No Name at this point, since I don't think either Ansem Seeker of Darkness or Xemnas actually use it, but let's assume it's lurking somewhere in the background, just like in Dark Road. It sees Kairi's journey and records it, allowing the young Master of Masters to see it, and there we have closed the loop. This theory assumes a lot, but I can clearly see a path where this is possible. But what do you think? Could Daybreak Town actually be an awakened dream of Kairi's version of the Age of Fairytales? Would the Master of Masters have pulled off such a feat? Tell me all about your thoughts in the comments down below. Have a theory you'd like me to cover? Here is my email address, and you're welcome to send all of them over. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. You can check out my Patreon or leave a tip via the various apps linked in the description box down below. Until next time.